Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. If you are, hi, my name's Hermione, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing a garden slash patio area makeover, which I'm really excited about because I've definitely scrubbed up this area in my garden a lot over the last few weeks. If you've been on my channel for a while, you might remember last summer I did a similar thing and I tried to scrub up my garden to the best of my abilities. After doing a lot of renovations on the house, the garden was looking not perfect. Pretty rough around the edges, to be honest. And I find gardening quite a laborious task. I don't have a green thumb, so it always takes me quite a while to get these projects done. This year, I really wanted to focus on the patio area and trying to grow my grass back a bit because that was a little bit neglected over the winter. And I want to say a massive thank you to Miracle Grow for sponsoring today's video. I'm using their Performance Organics range and I love it. I've used a few products and I'm a big fan, so I'm going to show you how I use them and how my garden has come to life over the last few weeks during the video. Speaking of during the video, I will be jumping back in a few times just to talk to you because being outside and trying to do anything outside means a lot of this. Just great. And this. And a little bit of this. And also I would like to get the walls repointed at some point in time. We love filming outside. Anyway, without further ado, let me show you what the garden was looking like before I started tackling this project. So my garden was completely neglected over the winter and I am not proud of it. This is how it looked when I started the makeover. It looked fairly similar to how it did at the end of last summer, but just overgrown with dry grass and a bit of a mess basically everywhere. I completely neglected my garden over the winter and I'm not proud of it. So all the work that I put in last summer, although it still looked good, the space was very messy, the grass had died and there were leaves everywhere. It needed a really good tidy up. Like I said, I'm mainly focusing on the patio today because I want to tidy it up so I've got a nice space in the garden for alfresco dining, or in my case, taking my bowl of cereal outside in the morning and just chomping on that. So that's what I'm working on. The back end of the garden really needs some work as well, but it's such a big project and I really want to get the brick wall sorted out at some point in the next year or so. So I will focus a little bit more on that later and the patio and the grass today. So my first task was to feed and freshen up the grass, and that way in a few weeks time when I started on the patio, it'd be a lot more luscious and full. The first thing I did was rake all of the leaves out of the way, which I've had to do quite a few times over the last month. The tree that I have in the garden just keeps dropping its leaves everywhere. Love that. I also raked the soil in the areas that were really patchy to try and agitate the soil a little bit and get it prepped for laying down some product that would hopefully bring it back to life a little bit. I then mowed the grass, which I'm not very good at. I don't do it as often as I should. That was fun. Almost forgot how the lawnmower works, but we got there in the end. After mowing the lawn, I realized that it was looking a lot more dry and patchy than I had anticipated, so it's about time I did something about that. So that's where Miracle Grow comes in, and I'm using their Performance Organics organic lawn food, which was really easy to apply. I just put some gloves on and I sprinkled it over the areas that were quite patchy and the areas that were very dry, and then I rubbed it in with my hands with the gloves on, of course. And this is why I agitated the area with a rake so that the product could really try and sink into the soil a bit. And over the next few weeks, I did keep going back about once a week to rake all of the areas through. And then I was very diligent with watering the grass, which, to be honest, I'm not very good at normally, but I've impressed myself because I watered the grass every single day. Garden update. It's been a couple of days since I laid down the lawn feed. Don't know how well you can see this, but in the middle of this big old patch I've got some little sprouts popping up.
This was completely mush, so I've got a whole load of hope that this is going to flesh out a lot over the next few weeks.
And let me tell you, the grass is looking so fresh and green now. It looks like a completely different garden. I'm so impressed. And the only areas that have struggled a bit are the areas that don't get as much light, but the middle of my garden, I have to get the lawnmower out again. I didn't think this through. I've got to mow the lawn more often, but it worked beautifully, so I'm really impressed with it. I let that sink in, and about a week later I came back to start tackling some of the patio area and potting some plants. With the patio cleared and cleaned up, I was on to my next big project, which was the decking.
Okay, it's time. I got stacks of these things everywhere.
Now, although the tiles underneath are absolutely stunning, they have suffered through years of neglect, and I didn't really have it in the budget right now to try and fix them. And to be honest, I don't know whether I really like them anyway. They're not my taste, but they are original to the house, so I wanted to leave them untouched.
So I picked up tons of packets of these deck tiles in B&Q. They just slot together. So as you can see, on two sides they have some loops, and on the other two sides they have these little pins, I guess, and you just line them up and drop them down. Simple. Let's do some more.
This is really, really good if you have a small space, especially if you're renting, because you can lift them up and take them with you when you leave. And they're solid wood, so they will last you quite a long time as long as you treat them and oil them every year or so. I did spend about 300 or so pounds on this square area, so do keep in mind when you go and buy them how many you're going to need, because I was not expecting to spend that much, but it's a lot cheaper than getting a deck installed and covering up those tiles. Now for the bit that I was really worried about, which is potting the plants and potting up some of my little strawberry plants. So I had to get help from my beautiful assistant, my Nan, who gave me loads of tips, which I'm going to keep forever and use hopefully down the line. She taught me a lot about potting plants. So over a few weeks we potted up some beautiful rhododendrons, my strawberries, and some other bits and bobs.
Don't put my face on. And a spoon. We've resorted to a spoon. So we're going to clean this out and start afresh.
So with our spoon in hand, we took these very dry and crumbly looking strawberry plants that I'd left in the shade for a week and forgotten about, and we potted them in some soil. They are in for a treat because they're about to get much healthier looking than they are right now. So we just dug a couple of holes and put 2 in each one of the pots. To convince them to grow, I'm using the Miracle Grow Performance Organics fruit and veg food, and as you'll see later in the video, they shot up and they really took well to their new environment and to the food. And also on my rhododendrons and my other plants, I'm feeding these as well, and for these I am using the Miracle Grow Performance Organics all-purpose concentrate. I use this indoors and outdoors. You can use this on any type of plants. Their aim is to help you grow your plants and your garden twice as big organically. And let me tell you, I have seen the difference after watering my plants with the plant food and leaving it for a few weeks. They are greener, fresher, and much bigger and healthier, which is so exciting, and it's all organic and pet friendly. Just over the hole.
Yeah, like that, exactly. And what you could normally use is like if you had a broken terracotta pot,
Okay.
you'd break it more,
And then
so
put
just
it in the
put
bottom.
bits in the bottom there.
Okay. So a week after I fed the plants, they were looking a lot greener and the rhododendrons were in bloom. So we potted up those as well and repotted a lot of my old lavender plants, which were a bit dry, and Nan helped me tidy them up, and now they're looking a lot healthier, which you'll see later as well. The rhododendrons add a lovely pop of colour either side of my sitting room door, and the lavender's starting to grow back, which is really nice. My strawberries are doing so well. They're even growing little flowers, and I reckon I'll have some strawberries pretty soon. I did lose quite a few of the original leaves over the last couple of weeks. This is one of the ones that's left. I didn't take very good care of them before I potted them up, and they weren't in good condition when I bought them. So all of this here is new growth over the last 2 weeks. This is an old leaf, and we've got some more sprouts coming up there, and this one's looking even more healthy. There's a lot going on in here, but I did notice someone's been munching on these ones, so I might have to put them higher up. And I just cannot get over the decking tiles. I think they look so good.
Okay, now we're really on the home stretch. There's a few more projects that I want to complete before this space is done, and I'm happy with it. So with all of those projects done, this is how my patio turned out. So pleased with how this space turned out. It's still modern, but it reflects my crumbly old garden and the history of the property. Although there's things I still want to do, like getting the brickwork pointed and restored, it's looking so much better. This garden is always a work in progress. Every year I get a little bit further, and the thing that I think made the most difference this year was all of the beautiful plants and the strawberries, and seeing something that I've planted grow and come to life has actually been so nice. It's given me something to kind of focus on during everything that's going on at the moment, and something that I have to sort of do every day. I've got to water them, got to look after them. So thank you very much to Miracle Grow for sponsoring this video, and also for helping me completely restore my lawn and making my plants and strawberries grow. I can't wait to keep up with the progress and see how they turn out later in the summer. I might keep you updated because I really want to focus on the back of the garden at some point and do a bit of tidying up there. So let me know if you want to see another garden video in a couple of months' time. But for now, that is everything. I hope this has helped you if you're doing some tidying up or some projects in your garden. If I can do it and I don't have a green thumb, you can do it too. Thank you so much for watching. Happy gardening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.